When Calls the Heart, Season 10, Episode 10, All Dressed Up. The show opens up with Lee, Rosemary, Elizabeth, Lucas. They want to tell the governor about Union City Company's plan to steal the water from Hope Valley. The governor's assistant told Lucas that the governor wants to meet with him to discuss his future. And Lucas is going to take that meeting, and he says that he's going to try to get the governor alone to tell him about the water situation in Hope Valley. He said he can take the governor on a tour and show him the hot springs, show him that the levels are dropping. Nathan came in and they told him about their plan to talk to the governor. And Lucas congratulated Nathan about winning an award tonight for rescuing the hostage. And Lucas said, "You deserve it." And Nathan said, "Well, you're the one that's rescuing the town." Lucas said, "Just doing what I can." Elizabeth was filing some books in the library, and Bill came in and told her he just got off the phone with the land office in Union City. He said that they had no record of his land being sold in Madeline St. John. He said, "I saw her sign the deed. Why wouldn't she have it recorded? Where is she?" And Elizabeth told him that she was in Buxton. And Bill said, "How do you know?" And she said that the book that Jamie returned to her in the mail had a return address. Bill said he needs to find her. So I'm guessing he's going to Buxton to see if he can find her. Elizabeth and Rosemary were walking down the street, and Florence ran over to Elizabeth and told her that she has a package. Rosemary was excited, and she said, "Oh, it's your wedding dress." And she calmed down, and she saw that Elizabeth wasn't all that excited. But right before they showed Elizabeth and Rosemary walking down the street, Elizabeth walked out the library and she bumped into Nathan. And they were still doing that awkward thing. Not like in the beginning of the season, when the beginning of season 9, when they just came in talking like everything was fine. Nathan was trying to date May, and then this season he's dating Faith, trying to move on with his life. It was like everything was wonderful. Elizabeth and Lucas are together and he's moving on. But now all of a sudden, this season, things look awkward between them. Rosemary said, "I thought you would be excited." Elizabeth said, "I am excited, but with everything that's going on." And Rosemary said, "Well, this is the perfect distraction." Lucas showed up to take the governor on the tour. Nathan and Lee were there. Nathan had Scout with him, and the governor wanted to take a picture with Nathan and Scout. And Nathan was getting ready to say, "Well, Scout isn't very," and before he could get it out, Scout ran to the governor and Nathan followed behind. Lucas and the governor got on the wagon. They were getting ready to go, and at the last minute, owner of the Union City Holding and Madeline St. John's fiance said, "Hold up, can I go with you?" And the governor said, "Sure, the more the merrier." Rosemary and Elizabeth got back to Rosemary's house, and they were getting ready to open the dress, which was the package that she got from Florence, the wedding dress. And when they opened it, they looked disappointed. It was a lot of white fluffiness in there, and Elizabeth said, "This isn't the dress I ordered." Rosemary said, "They sent the wrong dress. Some woman somewhere is looking perfectly elegant in your mermaid dress." Elizabeth said, "Rosemary, I can't wear this." Rosemary said, "And you won't." Elizabeth said, "Well, what am I supposed to do? There isn't time to order another dress." Rosemary said, "Fortunately for you, your bridesmaid is a perfect sink. Elizabeth looked serious and she said, maybe this is a bad omen. Rosemary said, no, this is just a mistake. When Lucas, Nathan, Lee, Montague, and the governor got to the spring, it was normal. The water levels were back like they were. Lee said the water levels are back up. How did Montague swing that? Nathan said, I don't know, but I bet if we went up to Bill's land, that trench will be filled in. Lee said, you want to bet Montague is not going to leave the governor's side? Nathan said, I'm going to go talk to him. And Lucas said, wait a minute, I'm going to go talk to him. He's been itching to talk to me all day, I can tell. You two know what to do. Lucas went over to Montague and said, I've underestimated you. How about a word in private? And Montague left the governor's side to go over and talk to Lucas in private. Lucas told Montague he knew why the water levels were dropping. And he said he wasn't trying to catch him in the act. He was just hoping he would change his mind. Montague said he's a big city man and he sees things of how they could be. And while Lucas and Montague were talking, Nathan went over to the governor and said, Governor, we need to keep moving. We're on a very tight schedule. Next, they're going to Coastal Lumber for a tour. The governor said, jobs, jobs, jobs. That's what I'm forever talking about. Lucas said to Montague, so there's no way you'll reconsider? I don't think so, my friend. I suppose you're going to tell all this to the governor now? Make your plea? Lucas said, isn't that why you invited yourself along? So I wouldn't tell him? Montague thought about it, and then he started walking to get back to the governor. And when he got there, no one was there. It was empty. And he told Lucas, aren't you clever? Lucas said, thank you. Bill arrived at a hotel in Buxton. He went to the desk clerk. I'm looking for a guest that may be staying with you. Her name is Madeline St. John. The clerk looked in the book and he said, I'm sorry, sir, there's no one here by that name. And Bill said, thank you. And he turned around and was looking around in the hotel room. Jamie walked around the corner and he saw Bill and he said, Judge Avery? Bill said, Jamie. Jamie said, what are you doing here? Bill said, I was about to ask you the same thing. Jamie said, Mother said we have to stay here for a while. I don't like it here. I miss Hope Valley. Bill said, Jamie, where is your mother? And at that time, Madeline came walking around the corner. She looked shocked and she said, Bill. He said, hello, Madeline. Nathan riding Newton and Lee driving the wagon with the governor in it. Lee stopped the wagon and looked toward the governor and said, I'm sorry, Your Honor, but we needed to get you away from Mr. Montague. The governor said, oh, why is that? Lee said, there's a plot afoot to steal water from this valley. The governor said, what? Lee said, it's true. We have evidence. We can show you. We can show you blueprints, maps. The governor was shocked. He said, well, gentlemen, an outrage like this will never stand. Not as long as I'm governor. Nathan patted him on the back and said, good. Glad to hear it. They continued their ride. Bill asked Madeline what is she doing in Buxton and why haven't she filed the deed for his land. And she said Montague isn't her fiance, he's her business partner, and he holds sole custody of a trust that her husband had, and he's holding it hostage. And Bill's land is her leverage, her only leverage to get the trust. There was a ball for the governor, and at that ball, the governor gave the governor's Medal of Honor to Nathan. Just the other day, Constable Nathan Grant performed a daring rescue, putting his life at risk, putting his own life on the line for what's right. So tonight I take much honor presenting him with the governor's Medal of Honor. Nathan said a speech, and he said that he was honored to serve and protect Hope Valley, and he thanked the town for letting him do that. Madeline gave Bill his deed back, and Bill said, I thought you said this is your only leverage She said, it is, but I can't do this to you or the town. He said, what would you do? Where will you go? She said, I don't know. And he said, well, come here, come to Hope Valley. With this deed, I can run Montague out of town. And she said, Montague has friends in high places, even the governor. Bill said, the governor? Madeline said, they're in business together, Bill. I wouldn't underestimate Bernard Montague. And she kissed Bill on the cheek before she said, bye, Bill, and left the room. Bill went to the ball and he walked up to Elizabeth and he said he just saw Madeline in his office and she gave him the deed to his land. He said, but it might not matter because she said that Montague and the governor are tight, that they've been in business together and they still might be. Elizabeth said, so that means we can't trust the governor. And Bill said, exactly. Lucas was talking to the governor and Elizabeth walked up to him and said, pardon me, dance? Lucas said, I'd love to. He told the governor, excuse me. As they were dancing, Elizabeth said, there's something I need to tell you. And she said, keep smiling. She told him, I don't think we can trust the governor. Bill told Montague that he just finished talking to his fiancée and she returned the deed to his land to him. You and your men are now trespassing on my property. Montague said, well played. You have a good night. And he walked away. Lucas said to Elizabeth as they were dancing, I have an idea. Trust me? She said, certainly. Lucas, Bill, and Elizabeth were standing in a room, and the governor and Montague opened the door and walked in. Bill showed the governor the deed that Madeline signed back over to him. And he looked at it, and then Montague looked at it, and Montague gave it back to Bill, and Montague told the governor, Bixby, you know the good that this water will do. And not just for this valley, but way up to Union City. And we need the diversion. Okay, wait a minute. This is a complicated matter. Elizabeth said, this is not complicated at all. What you are doing will destroy Hope Valley, just as it has destroyed Eagle Creek and Rock Creek. The governor said, yes, we also have to consider the greater good. Hundreds, thousands come into Union City looking for opportunity, looking for a brighter future. I have to consider their needs too. And as difficult as it is, I might have to invoke the principle of eminent domain. Bill said, eminent domain? Elizabeth said, you're just going to take it? Bill said, Governor, wait a minute. I just assumed you'd be on our side. The governor said, I'm on the side of whatever does the most good for all the citizens. Sorry, but these are difficult decisions. These are difficult decisions that a governor must make. I'm sorry, you can't do that. The farms, the community, the governor said to Lucas, you're a businessman. Surely you understand. You see my point, don't you? Lucas looked at Elizabeth and he walked over to the door and he opened it and he said, Bill, Elizabeth, I need a moment alone with Mr. Montague and the governor. Lucas closed the door and said, you're right, Governor. Now that I can see what's what, we can talk business. I'll do my best to show my fellow townspeople light, but it might be difficult for them to see if all they see is dust. The governor said, what do you propose? Lucas said, divert half the water, at least until after the election. That'll give me time to show the people that there is a functional compromise and keep their votes in your favor. I can be your point person here in Hope Valley, for a fee, of course. I would also like to be a partner and a friend. The governor said, I knew you were a smart man. Lucas said, I'll also need a new place to settle, just in case 50% of the water becomes more. Ideally, a place where the water will not be redirected. The governor said, Montague, will you please take Mr. Bouchard through our aqueduct map? The governor told Lucas, that can be arranged with your continued support, unequivocally. And he shook both their hands. Lucas, Montague, and the governor walked out of the room, and Lucas was telling him thank you. And he walked to Elizabeth, and he whispered to her, you did great in there. A budding actress. Rosemary taught you well. Lucas looked up to the stage toward Mr. Yost, who was holding up a microphone, and Lucas said, "Here we go." Elizabeth asked Lucas, "Are you sure you want to do this?" Lucas said, "This is the only way. And if the governor sues me for libel or throws me in jail, we still have to save Hope Valley. Are you sure you want me to go through with this?" She said, "You're a very brave man, Lucas." He kissed her on the forehead and walked toward the stage. "Thank you," Lucas said into the microphone. "Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and to all those who are listening live to Hope Valley's first ever radio broadcast. We are here to support our governor as he runs for re-election." He said Governor Balfour is a man of the people, a man of business, a man of the greater good. But what exactly does that mean, the greater good? According to Governor Balfour, that doesn't include places like Rock Creek or Eagle Creek. It doesn't even include Hope Valley because he's happy and willing to steal their water and leave them high and dry. It's happening here in Hope Valley as we speak. How do I know this? I know this because he told me. He offered me a cut to join in. Now, unlike Governor Balfour, I don't believe the greater good means leaving people out. I don't believe the greater good means decimating towns, valleys, lives, communities that we've worked hard to build here. Now we have an election coming up, and if you agree with what I've said, go out and make your voices heard. Governor Balfour was rolling his eyes, and Montague was mean mugging Lucas, and the people were clapping and saying, "Hear, hear." Balfour and Mr. Montague turned around and walked out of the building and turned around. And before they got into the car, Montague said, "You have no idea who you're messing with." Lucas just looked at him, and Bill was smiling, standing right next to him. Bill said, "No, I think we do." The governor's assistant came out of the building and stood beside Lucas. And Lucas said, "Edwin, what say you?" And he said, "It's about time someone stood up to him. The governor has some powerful opponents. We must talk soon." And he shook Lucas's hand. The next morning, there was a full-page story with Lucas's picture on the front. As Lucas, Elizabeth, Lee, and Rosemary were looking at the article, a reporter stepped up and said, "Mr. Bouchard, Randall Rockwell, Boston Beagle, can I get a quote?" Rosemary interjected and said, "The Valley Voice has exclusive access." Lee said, "Mm-hmm." Rosemary said, "But we want the word to get out, so ask away." 5 reporters were asking him questions, and Lucas said he was just doing what any citizen would do when their home is threatened. And the show ends with Lucas giving an interview to 5 reporters. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe.